Behind the scenes of Star Trek, things are not going nearly as well as the powers that be would have you believe. In the February 20th earnings call, Bob Bakish, the newly installed CEO of ViacomCBS, announced that Star Trek Picard had broken the record for total stream and subscriber signups for CBS All Access, and that the Star Trek franchise would now be extended across the house. Bakish then said there are 2 more Star Trek series in production, one for CBS All Access and one for Nickelodeon, before adding another 2 were in development. On top of that, he claimed that there was a new Star Trek feature film at Paramount and that they were announcing a new streaming service. That may all sound good, which indeed was the intention, as it was all meant to soften the blow of reporting the quarterly earnings, which were blood red. Despite Bob Bakish's best efforts, the ViacomCBS share price plunged afterwards. The market was clearly not swayed by this Star Trek expansion, but should you be? To shed light on that, we will just not go through the claims made in the earnings call, but place them in the proper context and add what we have learned of what might really be going on. In this video, we will cover the various series that are actually in production, namely Star Trek Picard, as well as Star Trek Discovery and the soon-to-be-released Lower Decks. Please be advised that much of the information which is about to be revealed in this video has been relayed to us by insiders with knowledge of the situation. As such, the claims cannot be independently verified. For that reason, this should all be taken with a grain of salt and be considered rumor. With that health warning out of the way, let's dive in. Bakish claimed that Star Trek Picard had broken the record for total stream and subscriber signups for CBS All Access, and there is no reason to disbelieve this. CBS All Access is one of the lesser streaming services, and Patrick Stewart reprising his role, by all rights, should be an event drawing in the masses. The problem for the Picard series wasn't so much as gaining initial interest, but keeping it once audiences actually started watching it. Neither CBS nor Amazon, the international distributor, released their viewership numbers, so we do not have access to them. What we do have access to, however, is Google search trends. To be clear, this is not the same as actual views, but it shows how many people search for Star Trek Picard for whatever reason, which in turn does at the very least provide an indication of the overall level of interest and engagement there is for the series. This metric does not paint a pretty picture, as it indicates that the interest nosedived following the premiere. If that declining level of interest translates to falling viewership, that is bad news not just for CBS All Access, but also for Amazon, which, as we shall see, is in turn even worse news for CBS and Secret Hideout. To recap from our earlier coverage, the international Star Trek Picard rights were originally offered to Netflix, already the international home of Star Trek Discovery, which incidentally will tie in with Picard in its 3rd season. Netflix then took one look at what Secret Hideout and Alex Kurtzman had planned, compared to their own experience on Star Trek Discovery, and decided, nah, we're good, and passed on it. That was a major red flag right there. The Picard series was then left in a state of limbo until Amazon came in and picked up the international rights. However, they paid significantly less for them than what CBS had originally demanded from Netflix, meaning CBS and Secret Hideout had less money than anticipated to actually make the series, which led to rushed rewrites and on-the-fly contractions, the results of which you can clearly see on screen. But even if Amazon paid less than what CBS and Secret Hideout wanted Netflix to pay, they wanted to get their money's worth, and to this end, any kind of decline in interest is bad news. According to the most recent rumors that reached us, the news is indeed bad. According to these rumors, Amazon were keenly aware of the behind-the-scenes issues facing Star Trek Discovery, and why Netflix passed on Picard in the first place. One element of concern was the partisan politics which were not just infused on screen, but explicitly spelled out to the public by the creatives in charge. What had caused them particular distress was an earlier interview with Alex Kurtzman, in which he stated that he didn't want any Trump supporters, period, to watch Star Trek Discovery. Whatever values they may express in public, Amazon are a business at the core, and have no desire to alienate half of their potential audience for ideological purposes. Amazon were therefore abundantly clear that the Picard series, should they agree to fund it, which for all intents and purposes they do, could not have any such divisiveness associated with it. Needless to say, Amazon were none too pleased with the interview released on the eve of the series premiere, in which Patrick Stewart stated that Star Trek Picard was all about Trumpism and Brexit. What they are even less pleased with, however, is the viewership numbers, which we have heard are in free fall, just like the Google search trends would indicate. We have heard nothing to indicate that Season 2 is at risk at this time, although the kind of money Amazon is willing to devote to it would be up for debate. And if Amazon end up really displeased, they could pull out altogether. Losing the funding Amazon can provide would be bad news for CBS and very bad news for Secret Hideout. Because who else could they turn to for more funding in a hypothetical situation where both Amazon and Netflix tried, failed, and let them go? What makes matters even worse is that under the leadership of Alex Kurtzman's Secret Hideout, Star Trek has even lost the support of third-party licensees. After losing a fortune on making merchandise for Bad Robot Star Trek movies, the big party licensees sat out Star Trek Discovery. We heard there was even an event for third-party licensees aimed at getting them to sign on to Picard and reconsider their stance on Discovery. The licensees reportedly thanked them for the booze and the memories. However, they made it clear to the sales reps that the audience were wise to the alternate designs, so they couldn't even give them away. There was no need to call on them again until they had some real Trek to sell. Since the major licensees that have been in the Star Trek business for decades now want nothing to do with it, CBS and Secret Hideout made sure headlines were made when McFarlane Toys signed on as a licensee back in May of 2017. However, as we pointed out in our coverage at the time, McFarlane Toys would primarily be making toys in the likeness of characters from the original canon. They had the option of making toys based on characters from the alternate license as well, which would include characters from Star Trek Discovery. This, however, was but an option. McFarlane Toys did not commit to making anything from Star Trek Discovery. Now, 3 years later, McFarlane Toys still have not made any toys from Star Trek Discovery, and they never will. Nor will they make any toys from Star Trek Picard for that matter, as from what we have been told, McFarlane is now out of the Star Trek business. Keep in mind, for Star Trek, the licensing revenue stream was always the envy of the rest of Hollywood. Following the Bad Robot movies and Star Trek Discovery, that stream has been reduced to a trickle. Speaking of Star Trek Discovery, on March 2nd, the website Geeks Worldwide reported that Star Trek Discovery had been not just renewed for Season 4, but also for Season 5, which would be shooting back-to-back with Season 4. We include it here for the sake of completion as one does. However, pending further confirmation, this is a report we choose to take with more than a grain of salt, as it contradicts what we have heard. Contrary to what our detractors like to accuse us of, we have never claimed that Star Trek Discovery has been cancelled before, nor will we now. This time, however, for the first time, we are hearing rumors that strongly suggest the end may indeed be in sight. To see why that might be, we must explore the situation and bad blood between Secret Hideout and Netflix, which contributed to them passing on Picard in the first place. When Netflix signed on to Star Trek Discovery, they thought they had signed on to a crowd pleaser. Secret Hideout gave them anything but, and a final product which did not bring in and retain enough subscribers relative to Netflix's expenditure. As such, they wanted out of their contract, which could effectively mean instant cancellation. While Star Trek Discovery turned out to be a money loser for Netflix, it was very profitable for Secret Hideout, as much of what Netflix paid was a production fee straight to them. For this reason, Secret Hideout wouldn't let Netflix pull out.
Hey, phrasing!
Not without a fight, or at least without robbing them blind first. Secret Hideout argued that they had already booked all the sound stages at Pinewood, Toronto for years to come. Plus, they had committed to a whole slew of other production expenses that were intended to be amortized over the course of a multiple-season run. If Netflix wanted out now, Secret Hideout would consider that a breach of contract and hit them with a $400 million cancellation fee. Netflix responded that they never signed off on Kurtzman going on such a crazy spending spree, and so the matter went into arbitration, while Netflix reluctantly agreed to a third season, albeit at a much reduced cost. In December of 2019, it was widely reported that Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery had finished shooting. However, more than 2 months later, in the end of February of 2020, it was yet again widely reported that the filming of Season 3 had wrapped. This time, the cast and directors chimed in as well, in a more celebratory fashion. So what happened between the wrap in December and the wrap in late February? How can a season wrap twice? The answer to that, of course, is what for Discovery is fast becoming a time-honored tradition: extensive reshoots. According to what we have heard, and which we again stress cannot be independently verified and therefore must be taken with a grain of salt, what happened was that the arbitration ended. Our sources tell us that the ruling was, in not so many words, that Netflix had, in fact, not signed off on Kurtzman spending money like a drunken sailor. Instead, they had given the required notice and lived up to their obligations by agreeing to a third season. From that, our sources also tell us that Netflix then pulled the plug on Season 4. This then led to about 2 months worth of rewriting and subsequent reshoots on Season 3, and these are what wrapped in late February. The purpose of these reshoots was allegedly to remove the Season 4 foreshadowing originally present throughout the season and replace the original cliffhanger ending with a series finale. Continuing on these rumors, we are also hearing that the current plan is only to reveal that the series is ending shortly before the final episode airs, and then claim Discovery was always intended to be a 3-season series, which reached the end of its run, something which would be blatantly false. Our sources also tell us that while Secret Hideout had leased all the sound stages at Pinewood, Toronto for years to come, those leases have been transferred to other productions, while the Discovery sets were dismantled the moment production wrapped on the reshoots. On February 9th, Star Trek Discovery actor Doug Jones sent out a tweet that seemed to cast doubt on the series returning for a 4th season. Though this is in no way confirmation, when responding to fans on Twitter, Jones has said more than once Discovery has not been picked up for a Season 4. However, Jones also says he's not privy to such information. So assuming for the moment these rumors have some merit to them, can we at least expect Discovery to end on a high note? Allegedly, the marketing department have seen early cuts, and the response to the footage was, "Dear God, please tell us this was from before the reshoots." One source told us Season 3 would retroactively make Seasons 1 and 2 better, not by adding to the story in any meaningful manner, but by way of being so much worse. Another source told us that calling Season 3 a dumpster fire would be an insult to actual dumpster fires everywhere, as they at least burned the trash. So if these rumors have something to them, Season 3 should be a real treat. That covers the most recent rumors surrounding the production of both Picard and Discovery. Going back to Bob Bakish's original comment, however, there is one more series in production. Star Trek Lower Decks is an animated series from Mike McMahon, formerly of Rick and Morty, being made for CBS All Access. It is being made because it has the required funding, and beyond that, we haven't really heard anything about it at this juncture, good or bad. Let us hope this is a case where no news means good news. The powers that be at ViacomCBS certainly could use some good news, because where Star Trek is concerned, they are in short supply of it, even if Bakish tried to paint a different picture in the earnings call. To briefly recap that earnings call, that's where he spoke of 3 series being in production, all 3 of which we've covered in this video. However, he also spoke of 2 other in-development series, plus an upcoming movie from Paramount. In the next video, we will cover those, as well as what the future might have in store for Kurtzman, and what the relationship between CBS All Access and ViacomCBS's new streaming service may be. To make sure you don't miss out on that, please subscribe and indicate that you want notifications of all videos. Till next time, let us know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.